Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Horror Movie Reviews, a series where I do reviews on movies and it comes out on Saturdays. Today I'm joined with another guest, Radar DaBoard.
Woo!
Yep. If you're not super familiar, I have read some stuff from him on my podcast. I'll probably link that somewhere. And he's going to join me as we talk about a movie that I'm going to announce in a minute because I'm going to build suspense, regular suspense, not suspension. That's a different conversation. Okay. So, so why don't you just kind of introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I guess in my free time, I'm a horror writer, and I've got two different series out now through Raventail Publishing. One's more of your like sort of cosmic horror, and the other one's a nice, good old creature feature. That one's supposed to be a trilogy. So, and then I've been in a lot of different publishers for anthologies. I love writing a mean drabble, which is a story that's exactly 100 words. And those are super fun. Yeah. Give those a shot. Everyone give them a shot. Even if you're not a writer, do it.
Okay.
That's me.
Cool. Yeah. And I'm going to put all his information in the description for the episode so you can go find him and his content. So the movie we are talking today.
Do you need a drum roll?
Yeah. Right.
I don't have
is the 1983 classic film Sleepaway Camp.
Classic. It's a strong word. I like it though.
I know. Everyone says that when I talked about it. They're like, oh, really? It's a classic. Okay. That's what everyone says.
See, what's that quote by Mark Twain that's like, a classic book is one that you just never read. And that's what I feel like when people are like, oh, this movie's a classic, so you've never seen it. It's like,
well, that would have been true a few days ago. So this was a first watch for me. I had seen some things floating around. I had seen memes about it, things like that. But you know, we were kind of talking about this earlier. Like there aren't a lot of people that really like dive into this and talk about this film a lot. So I just never watched it. And then when we were trying to decide what movies to do, well, at least for the first one, I think you had said this one, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen that. Like, we should do that one. And that's kind of how we like ended up here.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just kind of a no-brainer too, because I wanted to cover something that's not like, oh, we're doing John Carpenter's The Thing, which everyone talks about, you know, the usual suspects. Let's get off the beaten trail here. Come on.
Yeah. And I think this definitely covers that. So currently this is on Tubi. I feel like I didn't watch it on Tubi. I watched it on Amazon. So it's like everywhere. Good grief. It's on Tubi, Peacock, and Amazon, and a bunch of things I've never heard of before.
That sounds about right.
But let's see. It currently it's from 83. Currently sitting at 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb and 81% on Rotten Tomatoes and 90% on Google.
Whoa, 90% on Google. That's unexpected.
Yeah, I wonder like how new they are. You know, for it to be like rated, because I mean, you know, I wonder like how many people are discovering this, and as they're discovering it, you know, they're like rating it. Super short synopsis here. Bunks and the Showers are a mad stabber's beat at a summer camp strictly for teens.
That covers it. But
Mad Stabbers beat at a summer camp. That's so funny. That's the problem.
What is this synopsis off of?
That's from IMDb.
All right. Who said IMDb can't have fun?
I know. I think just anyone can sign in and write these things, though.
Oh, okay. Well,
like the reviews. That's like Wikipedia, or how Wikipedia used to be. I don't know if it's still the same way, but
it might be. I don't know.
Yeah. So, all right. So if you had to give this a rating out of 10, what would you give this film?
God. I'm not going to do like the IMDb like 6 point blah blah. But
6.25.
6.2345.
Exactly.
But I think I give it a 6 out of 10. You know,
okay.
Solid 3 out of 5. If you
3 out of 5. Okay.
Shrink it down.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, so I think I do have to disclose this because even though it was a first watch for me, I already knew how it ended because of,
Oh,
memes and whatever.
right.
But I will say, even that being the case, I also was thinking a 6 out of 10 because
Okay.
I still really liked it. I thought it was still a really fun movie, and it's definitely got some dark things going on, and I appreciated that. So I don't think that, even though I knew like how it was going to end to some degree, it didn't
Right.
actually like take away that much, I don't think. So yeah, so I also gave it a 6 out of 10.
It's still a great ending, and
Yes, I agree.
it's like everyone, and this is the truth for me, like when I watched The Sixth Sense
Mm-hmm.
and like 5 years ago, I knew it was happening. Everyone knows what's happening, but it's
Yes.
still a great ending. You can still enjoy it. So
Yeah, and the journey is still good. Like you still enjoy
right.
getting to that point where you're like, okay, now all of this is coming, full circle. So yeah, so I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Um, as far as unspoiled, I'm really surprised given that I'm not like a massive slashery person, but I do like psychological horror and I do like things that have some like grit to them. And I feel like this has those things. So I'm really surprised that I hadn't watched it already. But I really liked it. I thought the casting was really good. I think all the people you're supposed to hate, you hate. The people you're not
Oh
sure
yeah.
about, you're not sure about. Like all of that worked really well for me. I thought the deaths were very fun and very 80s.
Yeah.
And in it too, like even though it is essentially a slasher, it does have a lot of depth to the story that you only really get in these like quick little moments here or there, which I thought was really good, especially for the time. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, I really liked. I think it all went really well together. Even though I knew the ending, I thought it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're hitting it spot on because the
Yeah.
sort of like backstory. It's kind of like when you play a horror game and it's just like you only find out the backstory by just picking up random crap on the tables and reading it. So it's like this,
Letters and
yeah,
pictures
letters.
and
It's like if you're watching this, it's just like, oh, it's just a slasher. It's just some
yeah.
dumb film. You might not catch up on all that depth, but if you really, maybe view it a second time and really pay attention,
Yes.
other things will start happening in there. So it warrants
Yes.
it. Second viewing, people, get on it.
Yeah, I actually agree with that too, because all of the things I noticed, I wouldn't have noticed if I didn't know how it ended. Because it
Yeah,
would have been like, going in completely blind. I would have had to have watched it a second time just for the sake of seeing like how many things I missed not knowing what was going on. So yeah, I think it was really fun. I liked it.
yeah. I mean, it's a fun little romp. It's not reinventing the wheel, but I always believe that movies do not have to do that to
No,
be
sure.
great. So
Yeah. No,
and for
I
a six
agree.
out of 10, oh yeah, it's definitely worth it.
That's super solid. That's a good score. It's not no
Yeah, I
hate.
was gonna say. I didn't go like it's a 1.
Oh yeah.
That would be pretty. That'd be pretty rude of me to go like, "Hey, Angel, we should do this movie," and then you're like,
And then you hated
"Come
it.
on." Yeah, I was like, "Psych! I hated this film. I made you watch it
Yeah.
just to suffer with me."
And then it would have been funny if that was the case, and then I rated it like a 10 out of 10.
That would have been maybe it would have been some great discourse, or it would have been just awkward. Oh, well,
Oh,
see you later.
yeah. Yeah. It's funny that we like in middle ground. But yeah, no, I thought it was fun. I liked it. I think that to your point, like, yeah, it has some things that are unique, but it's not so unique that that's necessarily what you remember. You don't walk away going,
Right.
man, that was a crazy different film. You just think like it had these little like moments that were different from other things.
It has enough quirk. Let's put it that way. It's got enough
Yeah.
quirkiness to it. And I was good. Like the kills, they're not necessarily like, whoa, these are next level kills here either, but they're just good enough. They're good
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's a couple of kills that are very Friday the 13th, and I wasn't mad about that. Like I thought, okay, that's fine. I mean, it's a camp movie. Like there's only so many
Right.
things you can do. But yeah, that's all. That's probably all I could really say unspoiled. If you're watching this and you haven't seen Sleepaway Camp, you're like me, you've been living under a rock. Like I do recommend watching it, especially because it's on TV right now for free.
That's a great deal. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Catch up on a classic. You ain't got to pay for it. That's motivation. You should watch it. So, We're going to jump into spoilers now. So we're going to talk about all kinds of things. And I have to ask, so when you saw this movie for the first time, did you know it ended like that? Or did you actually get to experience that as like a, like a first everything?
So this is shameful, but I used to watch Mojo videos on YouTube. Sad stuff, I know. Dark days. But this movie got brought up on one of their twists, and I was like, I have no idea what the hell this is. Shut up, Watch Mojo. And so I completely forgot about it and just went a couple of years and just completely forgot. And I didn't realize, I watched it, and I didn't realize it was that movie until the ending happened, because it's so, what happens, it's like you can't get that image out of your head. That final image is so messed up. And it's like, as soon as I saw it, I went, oh, it was this one. So I kind of got it a little untainted for me, but at the same time, I kind of knew what was going on. So yeah, I guess a little different from you, because you got, I guess, memed.
I had seen the memes, and I can't think of what they are off the top of my head, but just, the big reveal of Angela, like, actually being a little boy, and like where that came from. I say little, they're teenagers, but you know what I mean. And like,
and that body is definitely not little.
Yes, fair enough.
just say
covering the basis there. Yes, that's true. But and then I really liked. So I think one of the things that I really liked a lot, and she doesn't have very many scenes, but the mother. I don't like her scenes. I mean, when you talk about something that like keeps your attention, like when she was on camera, I cannot take my eyes off of her. I was like, this lady is nuts. Like, she's like, I packed you snacks, but she's almost like robotic. I don't know. It's very strange. She did a great job, but I was like, from the first time I saw her, I was like,
oh yeah, so weird. She's like, oh, that just won't do. Sort of deal going on there. It's so weird.
Like, who are you talking to? Like, the two people in front of you. That was, and then the cousin is like, he's like, oh, she's just being her again or something. And I'm like, why are we just missing this insanity? Like,
it's like, dude, that's your mom. Are you okay with that?
I'm like,
there's like, and if I was like that age too, hardcore. Be making fun of my mom, my weird mom at summer camp. I'd totally be doing that.
Yeah. She was nuts, but I loved all of the segments with her, because those were like the letters in the video game. Like, those were the moments where you're just like, okay, like something is amiss. I don't know what yet. Well, I did know, but you know what I mean? Like, as a viewer, you're just kind of like, I don't know, like, she was captivating. I couldn't stop. And then, and then the scene where we see her doing the whole, like, what, you'd be a little girl, and like the whole thing, I was like,
I was like, oh, okay. That's pretty messed up. And just her performance makes it just that little bit more messed up, because it's so believable. Because of how weird she is.
Like you have no problem believing that. Like, none at all. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that tracks. Like, that's a normal thing. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just because of her performance. And I mean, because the rest, every other character in the movie is just, I won't say normal, but normal-ish.
Yeah. We have a lot of like tropey characters in this.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is fine. I mean, that's pretty run of the mill for films like this. That's not like a huge deal for me, but it kind of works too, because because the characters are so run of the mill camp assholes, like you tend to focus more, I think, on the ones you're supposed to focus on, because the others are just so like whatever.
And it kind of helps hide, like, sort of the undertone of what's actually happening too.
Yes.
Because you kind of forget that, oh yeah, Angela's kind of the one being kind of slighted here and a little bit, and it's probably her. And, because you make you think, oh, maybe it's Ricky, the skinny as a board kid.
Yeah, that the owner of the camp or whatever What a
Yeah.
psychopath. He's like beating up a little kid. He's like, you did this. And I'm like, you need therapy. Like, what in the world? He was such a weird character. He's like chasing him and he gets that like evil twitch like they used to do in the close up for like no, it's not actually pronounced Bella. I always say it. It's not Bella. Lugosi.
Yeah,
When
Lugosi.
like,
Yeah, there you go.
they zoom into the eyes. And like,
like,
that's what this character is. It's like this weird, thick eyebrow, crazy-eyed character. Like, what the hell? That's so crazy to me. Yeah.
It was, yeah, and he beat up Ricky, and you're like, is this kid dead? But they never address it because they just move on.
They just keep it trucking. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
they find him like beat up, and they're like, oh, here's another one. And I'm like, no, this is a different situation. Someone needs to like address the fact that like this is happening.
Guys, this isn't a villain in a Mad Max movie. You've got to go back and tell us what the hell happened to him.
Yeah.
Is he alive? He just left him in the bushes.
They're like, oh, we got other things to worry about tonight. He'll figure it out later. It's fine.
Whatever. And it's crazy too, because like that's like the second bad thing he's the owner is doing, because he's like dating Meg, who's like, I don't know, 15. Ugh.
God, the look of thrill on his face when she like asked about dinner, I was like, yeah. And it was funny because it kind of opens like that too, because when it first shows everybody getting to the camp, you've got that cook that's like I mean, you can't contain the drool coming out of his mouth, and I'm just like, and then the other guy's like laughing it off, and I'm like, you guys are accessories.
This is nasty. What are you doing?
What the hell? Oh my God.
It's always been a mystery to me too. I don't know, like, if your opinion, do you think the cook is dead, or do you think he's just severely burned? I can't remember if they ever like say, yep, he dead.
They don't say. I would assume, my assumption was he was just hurt so bad they like took him away, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I figured the kid on the boat was the first actual death.
But yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, like, killer death anyway.
Killer death, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the first, technically the first one's a accident. Yeah. I was like thinking, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I kind of forgot about the opening of the movie too, but because there's so much shit that happens like after that. I was gonna ask, do you have like, what's your favorite kill from this movie?
That's it happens off screen, but I gotta say Paul.
Yeah.
Because this dude is just so horny. He just does not realize he is going to get completely killed. And he's just like, whatever.
That's true.
It's so crazy because Angela's just like, you should take off your clothes, after she's been like, I just don't want to have sex. I don't want to have anything to do with that for like the whole entirety of the summer. And then she's just like, you should take off your clothes. He's just like, all right. Okay, I don't see anything weird going on here.
To be young.
To be young. And plus his off-screen death, you see the aftermath, and it sets up that whole twist. So maybe that's, giving me a little bias.
That's true. No, that's definitely. So I think a close runner up for me against that one, because I think that one is pretty cool, and the lead up to that is really good. Is the guy from the boat, the one that's killed in the boat, because the discovery is like, I love that moment of like that guy. He's like pissed about the mess everybody's made. He's like, how did this even get here? And he's like ranting and raving for like way too long before he finds his body. But he like flips it, and he's like suddenly realizing that there's worse things in the world than a chair in the water. Like right. It's just this weird moment of like, oops. And then that like really big guy is like, he was such a good swimmer.
Yeah, that counselor was jacked, and he was just massive. It was way too like distracting throughout the movie. Whenever he came into a scene, I'm like, everyone else is just a normal size, and this dude is Luke Ferrigno levels here. Like
in his little teeny tiny shorts. I can't.
The 80s shorts.
Oh my God. That's so true. And he's like, and he looks like the same in like every scene. He's got his hands on his hips, his eyebrows are furrowed, and he's like, I'm gonna be mad about it, but I'm gonna go along with it anyway. Like, that's him like the whole film.
it's the whole I'm not mad, I'm disappointed, but just that's his go-to. He can't do anything else.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. His character was like, I don't think he was meant to be comical, but he absolutely was. When he tells the
100%.
cop that kid was such a good swimmer, I lost my shit. I just I'm like, I mean, first of all, I get what he's saying, but also like the fact that he would be thinking that whole conversation, he was going to say it, then he wasn't allowed to say it. And then it was so important to say again that he finally was given an opportunity to say it. And he was like, oh, I was just going to say you're such a good swimmer.
Crucial details.
Like that doesn't, for the record, that does not mean someone can't technically drown. Like, Jesus. Anyway, that part, I just thought he was really funny, and his reaction to that death was really, really funny when it came up.
Oh man, he's such a bad camp counselor too, because like all these deaths are going on, and he's just like, oh man,
he is.
Let's move on.
He bros his way through the moments. Like it's just like, oh, that sucks, and we got to do something. And the guy's like, we're not. And he's like, okay, like,
oh, all right,
it's totally fine. Yeah.
Like at what point do you got to put the foot down, dude?
Yeah, at some point,
How many bodies?
Could probably fold him in half. Like, just tell him to shut up and like do what needs to be done. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I thought I think that I was actually really surprised with the amount of like things about the kills that I actually liked, because sometimes you never, it's so hard sometimes to go into something that's older because you can't look at it through the same lens anymore, because it's not the 80s anymore, and so it's like you have to try to keep that in mind as you're watching, like it was. But I feel like, in all honesty, I think Meg's death was a little lackluster as a present day watch, because she's kind of like silly, oh no, like the way she like that, and so it's just ridiculous. And so it's like, I feel like if you got stabbed through a shower wall in the back, I think it would hurt more than she was portraying on camera. But
eat your heart out, psycho.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. But I think all the other kills actually held up pretty well as a first time watcher. I was like kind of surprised. They're pretty grotesque.
And I mean, like we said, we don't know if he dies, but the cooks is just like, that one stuck with me, because it's like, oh, that'd be the worst thing. And I used to work at like a sandwich shop that was a little old fashioned, Ma and Pa ran, so they didn't really have much money. And they had one of those big those pots for boiling. So I'm like, that could have happened to me at any damn time.
That's true. Well, and I was, and it starts out because you kind of like, it's kind of goes the bully route of like the people that die, you're like, good, like, you're like, you got what you deserved. I didn't really feel that way about the kid in the boat. I think he was a little jerk, but he was nowhere near the level of jerk that some of these other characters were. But I was glad the cook, I was like, good, like, see ya. Like, yeah.
Have a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's probably worse off for him that he probably did live too, because he's just in pain. Oh,
so much pain.
So much pain. That's gotta hurt. And just like the whole, how they kind of drag it out where he's just hanging on the ledge going like, stop. It's like, get it out.
He's like, help me down from here.
It's like, this person's obviously not helping you down, man.
Yeah, like, did you not feel the tug on the thing you're standing on? This is intentional. Like,
this is, you got pushed, buddy.
Yeah. And then it was funny because like after he's like laying on the floor and he's like in that, which don't get me wrong, if I was burned that badly, I wouldn't be moving either. But he's like laying like this, it just shows him like this. For like 5 minutes.
Oh man.
Oh, such a fun movie. I'm glad that you actually said this one, because I don't know how long it would have been before I watched it, but I thought it was fun. I did like it.
It's fun. It's like got the right amount of cheese in there. Like, it's got the right amount of the stereotypical horny teenagers. It's not like everyone's knocking boots in this camp. There's like some regular, all the background characters are like, I just want to go to camp, you jerks.
Let's
And then
play volleyball and go swimming.
yeah, it's like, and I love how the conflict is like, what? Angela doesn't have to play volleyball with like the girl bullies. It's like I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I
Just play
don't know why
volleyball.
any of that mattered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like maybe they had uneven teams. I don't know. But it's like that's just so weird.
Why does she get to hang out with all the boys? It's like one person, and it was not
One team.
anybody of any of your interest to begin with until you wanted to stir up trouble. Like,
Yeah.
calm down.
Come on. What are you
I don't
doing?
know.
But that's just such a weird motivation.
It
Angela
really
doesn't
is.
Angela doesn't have to swim like the rest of us who enjoy it. Well, yeah, you're right, I guess. I'm like, what?
I like the in the beginning when they get to their like little cabin or whatever, and Angela's like sitting like perfectly like yoga position up, and she's just staring at whatever or the mean girl, whatever her name is, and like she's just staring at her. And the amount of composure that this character has when people are like yelling at her to say something, and she just is like,
She just stonewall, just. But I can't do it. But Felisa Rose just does a fantastic job. She's so young, but she's really honestly out of all of the actors, the one that became the most successful because she's had a resurgence as of late in her career.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's if you go to her IMDb, it's like there's like 10 films she's in that are in like post-production just right now. And then there's like,
Dang.
yeah, it's just insane. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So
Well, she
she's had
definitely
a
did a
resurgence.
great job. Very convincing.
Yeah, and she was, a teen, so I don't think I could have pulled off that stare and that
Me
face
either.
at the end.
Yeah. Oh my God. You know what the worst is in like the like most unsettling part is that they leave that shit up on the screen through the first part. I'm like
Yeah.
waiting on something else to happen. I don't know. Again, I hadn't seen it, so I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And then it was like credits, and I'm still looking at this picture going, what in the world?
That's a bold move too, to just go like, no, this is what you get. We're not showing any other shots from the other parts of the film. This is what you get.
And you're stuck with it.
You're stuck with it.
With this weird processing of this information that you were not prepared for. I mean, I imagine, not that there aren't like really crazy films that came out around this time or before this time, but I imagine this probably was pretty crazy. Like for people to get to the end of this film, for it to reveal that Angela is in fact a boy, and there's like this whole backstory with it. Like I imagine people probably were like, what? Like I bet it really was probably quite the experience to stand there, look at that crazy expression, and then know like what you just watched.
Right. Just in the theater, I'm sure everyone's dead silent. It's like dark. The lights come up, but I'm sure everyone's still staring at that.
Yeah.
The clearly not her body.
Well, sure.
You know.
So before I knew why, or like before I knew the significance of that image, like before I'd seen memes and before I like obviously watched it, I actually thought it was like, because I've only ever seen it as a still, I actually thought it was a death scene. Like it looked like to me, it looked like the body was put on like a pike or something and was like that. Like, that's what it looked like to me.
I could see that.
When I got to that part, I was like, oh, they don't kill her. Like she's not stuck, or he's not stuck on a something in the ground. Like, I don't know. Like that's just what it looked like to me. It looked like a death. So it just was like,
it's so unnatural. I can't believe that like the directors were like, yep, that's it. Because I would never have the direction to go like, hey, just stand there in a weird, like half open position with just doing that at like the camera. And they're like, yeah, that's it. That's the shot. It's like I would have never thought to do that.
No.
I would never.
Definitely not. And it's interesting because it's so damn effective.
It is. Oh God,
Like
it's
even now, like when I looked at it, I was like, oh, don't like that. Like it's just really uncomfortable.
just a little, and it's like her kind of heavy breathing, his or her heavy breathing. It's kind of that's happening while like the other dumb counselors are having this like revelation. Oh my God, she's a he. Like but
That
thanks.
really was. That really was how they reacted.
Our favorite buff counselor connecting the dots.
All they needed to end with him like talking about the swimming thing. They needed to end with him like, he was such a good girl.
Such a good girl.
That would have been like
Perfect.
I
At
would
the
have
end of
died
it.
laughing. I would have had tears
Oh,
in my eyes. Like I wouldn't have been able to breathe. I would have been laughing so hard.
oh man, it's
Oh
funny
my
because
God.
now I want to go back and like check on because I can't quite remember if they show you in that opening like scene if they kind of show who actually lives. And I can't quite remember if they do.
They don't. The only
They don't?
sequence or the
Yeah.
only thing that you see is you see the dad, the body,
Oh, right. I
and then
remember
you
him.
see the back of the head of one of the kids, but that's it. And it's not enough to show one way or the
Brilliant.
other. Yeah.
And I think that's a brilliant move too to
Mm-hmm.
do that. Because, I mean, audiences probably wouldn't have even thought that that was like hiding a twist when they went and saw it. That's like it's a crazy, brilliant move to go like, oh, it's the back of someone's head. But, we showed the father like that. So this is just how they died, not we're trying to hide the plot twist coming at the end of the film.
Yeah. Well, and I think like I said, I
Yeah.
actually kind of forgot about the opening because you get kind of like engrossed in what's going on and the kind of
Right.
craziness that is the camp that I kind of like didn't even think about, well, what the hell does that have to do with anything? I just kind of like forgot
Kind of
about it.
shift it back there like,
Yeah, which I think if I had not known the ending also would have helped kind of bring all of
yeah.
that, because then I would have been like, oh yeah, that's right. But I totally kind of forgot about the opening I think I originally was thinking because it doesn't tell you time has passed that I remember. It just is
I don't
like it
think
just
so.
moves forward, right? So I'm like, okay, so did one of the camp counselors like a problem because like they like killed people on accident or like I don't know, like I didn't know what direction it was going to go, but then I totally forgot
Right.
about it.
And you're like, oh, well, everyone's wearing crazy short shorts, so let's move on.
That's right.
Let's just go on to the next thing. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about Angela's theme because I think it slaps. It's like I don't know if you have listened to it. The song.
The song.
It's
Wait, when you said theme, I was like theme. I'm thinking like content theme. I'm like, what
oh
theme?
no.
You with the music.
Yeah, sorry. That song, Angela's song, it's like I can't remember the lyrics right now off the top of my head. I don't want to sing them either. But it's I don't want to let you go. The way he sings it, it's just weird. And it sounds like they hired the band and they just didn't tell him the ending of the film. They didn't tell him the ending because it's just like a love song kind
Yes.
of. And it's like you don't know who Angela is, I guess. Which it's kind of a mean move, but whatever.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is really funny. There's a lot of silly in this. There really is, but I still really liked it. I don't know. It worked for some reason. I think because some of the kills were pretty brutal and like just like the craziness of the story and like the mom and it just all kind of came together really well, but it definitely had some like really silly moments. And then also too, like for me anyway, I didn't go to summer camps. I mean, I did some camp stuff like, for like weekends and stuff, but never like that. Right. And, but I feel like a lot of those interactions are actually pretty spot on. Like as far as like the boys messing around and like some of the conversations and like just some of that stuff actually felt pretty real. Just from what I remember being around teenagers as a teenager.
Right. in a
But
summer camp setting, like yeah,
yeah.
that happens.
Yeah. And is Ricky, right? The I think his name's Ricky.
Yeah, the cousin.
The cousin.
Yeah.
But when he starts like yelling at the guys on the roof and he's just like cussing, like it doesn't make whatever he's saying, like doesn't make any sense. But he's like, you this and that, and then he's like, I'm gonna kill you. And he's like saying all this, and he's like losing his mind. I was laughing so hard. I was like, what a
they let it go on a little too long, which is kind of their whole thing for this movie.
Yes, that's true.
Let it go on just too long.
Just a little too long.
Even when the camp owner's beating the snot out of Ricky, I'm like, this is still happening.
It wasn't a quick cutaway scene. Yeah, it was very like that's true. Crazy. You're right, because they even do that with the other deaths, and that's how the movie ends. It's like this moment that just won't stop. Like it just keeps going on and on. That's true. Yeah.
Wow, it's just like whenever the conversation should end, and it just goes on that second too long, and it's just like that's the movie.
That is. I didn't really think about that, but it really is a lot of moments, like just like they didn't know where to end it.
Yeah.
Like, you hang up. No, you hang up. Like, like what? That's so true. I didn't think about that. It really is like that though. Man.
Oh man. It's definitely worth a second rewatch just to see all that stuff. And I'll tell you right now, fun fact, Angela's song is playing in that like mess hall when Paul and Ricky fight off those guys, which I think is so funny that like a song about Angela is in that world. It is in that world being played
like this. Yeah.
Maybe that's why she was getting bullied, because they're like, well, where the hell is our song?
They're just mad, jealous.
This random Angela kid comes to camp. She gets a song. I've been here for 3 years. What's going on? What the hell?
Here every summer. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is fun. I'm glad that you recommended this one. This one was a fun watch. I did like it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. So
yeah,
I didn't know how you were gonna take it, because it is one of those where it's like I could definitely see someone going like, oh, I absolutely hated this film.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I know we have kind of similar taste too, so I know I kind of like it. So.
No more changes. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and watching our Saturday review of Sleepaway Camp. I'm going to put all of his information below, as mentioned previously, so you can go follow and read and buy and all those supportive, wonderful things. That's all I have for this one. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, enjoy your week, and I'll see you in the next one.